was giving them their soul back.
All right. So here's the thing.
We're not on the same side. He doesn't even have that much power. Dragging me almost a decade. Oh.
As dickish as that behavior was.
How could you say this? We bring the crisis to its creators. Earlier last week, I saw an Instagram post. It was advertising Beto Orourke Town Hall in Kansas City on Monday night. So I saw this, and I said, oh, okay. And I sent it into a group chat. We had a meeting on Sunday. It was about 7 people. We decided that we were going to go and force the conversation of Gaza into this town hall meeting with Beto Orourke. There's no video that I could find on the internet of him calling into genocide, much less a support for an arms embargo or pressuring the Democratic Party to adopt a different stance than the one that the vast majority of the Democrats do, which is give Israel whatever they want and facilitate the genocide in Gaza. I think about this all the time, but the way Mahmoud Khalil described the Columbia encampments and their relationship with Columbia and how he saw it was the encampment movement was giving them their soul back. We are giving you your soul back. We are allowing you to wipe your hands of this fucking genocide and to step into your own morality for the first time in a very long time. And you should be thankful that you are given this opportunity. And Beto is the exact same way. I am giving you, by doing this, by putting myself in this situation, I am giving you an opportunity to express that you have empathy for people who are not you. Why would you reject that? Unless you're fucking evil. So we identified that getting him to call it a genocide was going to be our number one priority. And then an arms embargo was our 1A, meaning that we would not accept one or the other. We wanted both, and both was the only way we were going to be happy. We didn't really know what was going to happen. And so we all showed up on Monday. And we wrote a list of questions. So if one of us got up and we asked a question and it was kind of like thrown away, hopefully another person could get the mic and then read the next question. And then we would just keep centering Gaza in the conversation. What we didn't plan for is that this event was packed. So the likelihood of us getting on the mic to ask a question was quickly becoming very slim. And I think we were all like realizing this, right? So as we were walking up to the venue together, and I see Beto. And so I run up to him, Mr. Orourke! And he whips around, and I run up to him, I shake his hand, and I say, hey, Mr. Orourke, I'm Brett. I have a question. Could I please ask you? And his comms director is right there next to him, and she's like, oh, he would love to answer your question. Are you coming to the town hall? And I was like, yeah, I'll be up there. And she's like, okay, I'll make sure I find you in there, and you can ask it there. And I said, oh, we're in, baby. We're fucking in. Oh, another thing I should mention about this is that literally the demographics of this room were so consistent that like randos in the crowd were like coming up to us and being like, why are there no young people here? It was like 98%, 50, 60 plus white people. It was a very, very strict demographic, right? And so people were coming up, like literally before, like when we were just sitting in the room waiting, people were like literally turning around, coming up to us and being like, hey, like, why are there no other young people here? Thank you so much for being here. You're the only young people in the whole room. And I was like, well, neither party has given anybody in my generation something to be hopeful our entire lives. People were open to it. I think the room was like pretty open to us. So we get to the questions. And I'm the kid in the back of the room who fucking has to answer the question, right? I'm sticking my hand so high up. I make eye contact with the comms director, Cynthia, and she like kind of waves me over. And I come over and she's like, you didn't say outside. What was the question you were going to ask? And I was like, oh, yeah. I just wanted to ask, like, there's just not a lot of, like, other young white men in the room here. And, like, I just really wanted to know how Democrats can reach young white men. She was like, oh, great. She's like, great, yeah. And so she's like, I'll come right over to you. So here's what I actually asked.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the words that you were saying earlier. However, Beto, 85% of Palestinians in Gaza are at risk of severe malnutrition. This is irreparable harm. 70,000 children, if they don't get food in the next month, are going to die. Like I said, I appreciate the words and the strength that you talked with about it earlier, but there's one thing you didn't say, and that is calling it a genocide and calling for a full arms embargo, an arms embargo on the state of Israel.
I really appreciate your question. And I have really not wanted to answer this question.
Yeah, he's literally like, now listen, it's been 2 years and I've been cowarding away. I have been hiding in cowardice, trying to not answer this question in the face of exploded fucking children. Like, shut the fuck up, you piece of shit. You piece of shit. How could you say this? Like, what the fuck? This is our democratic leadership. I don't want to have a spine when it comes to fucking starving children.
Read, I don't know how many articles, if you're like me, what is the definition of genocide, and is what Israel's doing, does that meet the technical, the legal, the commonly understood definition of genocide?
Like, everybody in the room starts groaning here. A lot of people in the room start being like, ugh.
The other challenge.
B'Tselem says it is.
Folks.
And then he like zones in on me because I say B'Tselem says it is. Like, B'Tselem last week, the Israeli human rights organization called it a genocide.
And just let me wind up for a sec, okay? This is not an easy one. One of the big challenges that I have faced and I've really struggled with, in my mind, and I think in the minds of many Americans, especially many American Jews, the word genocide is synonymous with what the Nazis and Hitler did in the final solution.
That's exactly why we should use it.
Yes, sir.
This shit is so gross, too. He's saying the only genocide that matters happened in Western Europe. It happened to Jewish people. So therefore, this is really hard. Because, listen, the Israeli government represents all Jewish people. Every single part of the rhetoric in this is about, like, a really fucking disgusting, terrible premise. The premise that the only genocide is in Western Europe. That's white supremacist, or at least white centering. At the very least, white centering. This idea that Jewish people are synonymous with the state of Israel, and that we have to, like, you know, have that all Jews are in support of the state of Israel. This is blatantly anti-Semitic. Fuck you.
Okay.
And then his comms director comes over and starts fucking pressing me.
Let me give you an answer.
You keep interrupting. You need to stop, or I'm going to ask you to leave.
Ask me
That's
to
it.
leave.
I will.
Go get called cops.
Then leave.
Hey, Sydney, let me just let him hear the answer to this.
Do it.
I'm not leaving until I get my answer. Like, I'm making it very clear to her. I'm not leaving until I get my answer. And I will be a fucking problem. So you better answer right.
All right. Are we cool? Can I just say what my
I would
piece?
love to hear it. Please, yeah, continue.
Stop interrupting.
Okay. Just don't be an asshole, okay? That's all I'm asking. Just don't be an asshole. All right. So here's the thing.
Yeah, I'm the asshole. Meanwhile, you're up here asking for donations to a party that has facilitated this genocide for the first year and a half that it happened. That is still to this day, voting to continue facilitating the genocide as 2 million people are starving. Remember the stat I said at the beginning, chat? 85% of Gaza is at risk of severe malnutrition. Severe malnutrition is not a diagnosis that you come back from. That is irreparable harm for the entire rest of your life. That is never going to be the same.
Yeah, if you're interrupting me, that's exactly what you are. So here's the thing. For many Americans, for many people around the world, that term genocide is synonymous with what happened to the Jews. More than 6 million who were slaughtered, incinerated. Children, men, women, absolutely innocent of any crime, any culpability, any participation in anything that would warrant that kind of inhumanity. And yet out of that, especially amongst American Jews and Israeli Jews and Jews all over the world for that matter, was this promise that we would never see this again, that we would never be complicit in it or allow it to happen again. When I see what the Israeli military is doing in Gaza right now, with the full complicity of the United States, funding the Israeli Defense Forces, literally giving the bombs that are used on defenseless people, on children, on hospitals, on schools, when it's not that children will starve in Gaza, children are starving to death right now in Gaza. More than 50,000 people have been killed so far, most of them, vast majority, by any measure or count, absolutely innocent. And the leaders of Israel have said that they want to wipe all Palestinians off the map in Gaza. They are trying to literally extinguish a people from...
Yeah, the 50,000 number, it's been 50,000 for 14 months. It's a laughable number.
From their homeland. And by those criteria and those facts, to give you your answer, sir, yes, it is a genocide. There you go.
There you go. Like he's doing me a fucking favor. There you go. And then they move on to the next question. And chat, he did not answer my fucking question. All right, let's go back and listen to my actual question.
70,000 children, if they don't get food in the next month, are going to die. Like I said, I appreciate the words and the strength that you talked with about it earlier. But there's one thing you didn't say, and that is calling it a genocide and calling for a full arms embargo on the state of Israel.
So there are two parts to that question. And I'm not about to let that second part go. Because if you call it a genocide, that comes with something. There is a conclusion to that admission. If it's a genocide, what are we doing about it? What is the lengths that we as a country should go to stop a genocide? And there might be varied, responses to that answer, but there is no answer that if you admit it's a genocide, that we continue funding the country doing the genocide. This is an unacceptable answer. That you would not support a full arms embargo on the state of Israel. And just so we're clear, an arms embargo doesn't just mean that the United States stops giving them weapons. It means the United States enforces an embargo on the country and doesn't let weapons from any other country in. They don't get weapons, they don't get the tools to kill anyone ever again until the apartheid is dissolved, until the ethno-nationalist state of Israel is gone. We are principled here, and they don't get to fucking just move away from this shit. All right? So what do, chat? We bring the crisis to its creators. Bring the crisis to its creators. Elisa Slotkin, or Chuck Schumer, Cory Booker, or Bernie Sanders, or any of these people who refuse to call it a genocide and refuse to unequivocally support an arms embargo on the state of Israel are speaking in your town and they're handing microphones to people in the crowd. It is your duty to be in those spaces, to be there with people who have your back, to organize and to fucking force this conversation to be the only conversation.
Your answer, sir, yes, it is a genocide. There you go.
Okay, here's our next question. Sorry about that. Here we go.
Look, buddy, look. I'm going to give you some advice.
Arms embargo.
Wait, I'm going to give you some advice.
You need to leave. You're not the police. Yes, I know. You need to leave.
You're the
This is our
police.
event.
Show me your badge.
This is our event.
Show me your
You need
badge.
to leave.
She starts saying, I'm the police. And she's like, you need to leave. And I said, call the police then. Call the police. I'm not leaving.
You need to leave.
She's getting in my face.
You need to leave. You need to leave.
Like, everybody's like freaking out because she's being so aggressive to me. I never move. I never step anywhere. Like, she is in my fucking face trying to intimidate me on her fucking tippy toes, dude. Dude, also, like, I'm so distracted here. I should be focused on Beto and getting him to answer my fucking questions. Like, this is just, like, personal critique here.
Because you're yelling.
We're on the same side.
Like, this person coming up, we're on the same side. If you could have, like, in that moment, frozen, paused the moment, and, like, gone through a dictionary and found a phrase that would piss me off the most, this is what it would have been. This is what it would have been. Like, bitch, if we're on the same side, then why aren't you yelling about a genocide right now? If we're on the same side, then why don't you have the same urgency about the Palestinian children that are starving to death as I do? We're not on the same side. I'm not on the side of anyone who can excuse genocide to support a fucking politician like Beto. I'm not on your side, actually. We're on very different sides.
On the same side.
If you want to be right and right.
I started to argue with her because it was a visceral reaction, and then I just like, please get away from me. Like, stop. Get away from me.
It's Britney, bitch.
So they didn't kick you out after that? Oh yeah, they kicked me out. I pulled out my sign. Perfect sign, by the way. Perfect sign for the moment. This is called messaging. Boom. Arms embargo now. Exactly the thing that I'm screaming. Did they shove you out? Dude, the lady Cynthia had literally both hands wrapped around my waist and was full fucking dragging me out of this building. Once I start saying free Palestine, like many people in the room are saying it back to me. But I also just want to point out, if you rewatch this video, we couldn't have made this video, we couldn't have published it in this way if we didn't organize. If I didn't have other people in the room filming from different angles to edit this thing together that's like so many different angles of this exchange happening. That was a really important part of being organized, not just going as an individual, but like having homies to back you up and having different roles and everybody knowing their roles. This shit actually makes an action like this effective.
I got to tell you, as dickish as that behavior and as alienating as that is, and it's counterproductive. Like, if you want to save people's lives, we got to bring more people into the conversation.
Hey, if you want to save people's lives, stop giving fucking weapons to the organization and the state that is murdering en masse and telling you that they want to murder en masse. How about that? Yeah, I also want to just point out how close he is to ContraPoints. Listen, I agree with everything you're saying, but you're just alienating me by being angry. You're alienating me. Why are you calling out my cowardice? I would have really liked to continue to be cowardly in this. Like, why do you have to point out how cowardly I am? It makes me feel really bad. It makes me feel like a really bad person. Like, fuck you. Yeah, you should feel like a bad person, man. You should. This should be the only thing you talk about with every single Democratic operative that you ever interact with. It should be, how do we stop this genocide? And until you do that, until you start treating this with the urgency that it desires, this is gonna how your town halls are gonna be. And I will remind you, chat, he is still on tour. He was just in Omaha tonight. I think Grimlow said he's gonna be in New Orleans later this week. He's coming to Dallas-Fort Worth soon. Do not let this conversation die here. And don't let it only be about Beto, because at the end of the day, this guy's fucking unemployed. He doesn't even have that much power. What is he campaigning for? The only thing that you can really like, the only thing it could possibly be is like doing like soft campaigning and like padding for like a presidential run. Yeah, for 2028 for presidential. Which is why it's like, yeah, you know, does he ever stand a chance in a presidential campaign? Fuck no. Fuck no. However, don't you think, you know, there's like a good chance that in 2028 people are going to be questioned on what their stances were, and having these people pinned down on exactly what their opinion is right now is going to be relevant? I do. I think he still holds power within the Democratic Party, and he should be held. This crisis is still his responsibility, and we should still bring it to him as the creator of it. These are the next two questions. All right? After I got removed. Both of these next two answers are random people.
So actually, that situation ties into what I'm saying. So as I look around this room, I do not see enough 18 to 35-year-olds. So I don't see enough. And for that reason, I do think it's slightly disrespectful to say that that is taking away the light and all that, but that is the voice of young people that want to see change. And we as Democrats...
This is not one of our guys, no. This is not somebody we organize with. This is just a rando. Courage is contagious. Courage is contagious. Demonstrating that urgency makes everybody feel the urgency. They see me doing that and they say, what am I doing? Wait, he is right. I agree with his politics. Why am I not doing something like that? Like, this dude got in a lot. Like, he was chosen before I even did any of that. You can tell in this answer that this is not the question he had when he raised his hand. And he gives you the question that he had when he raised his hand at the end of this. But like, you can tell this is all just like his emotions after witnessing what just happened.
Not see enough 18 to 35-year-olds. That is the voice of young people that want to see change. And we as Democrats will not get any further if we cannot play into that. But my question goes, what is the Democratic Party going to do to coalesce around the 18 to 35-year-olds and get them involved? Because they're not in this room right now.
That's right. That's right. For people of my generation, we see this clearly. We see this clearly, and we're holding you accountable. And if you do not see it as clearly as we do, and if you do not demonstrate moral clarity on this issue that we feel is appropriate, we will not fuck with you.
And then second to that, what are Democrats going to do to hedge against AI?
Yeah.
Like, you see, his first question when he's speaking so passionately, that was the question that, in my opinion, that was an auxiliary question that we forced into that room. The reason he raised his hand was to talk about the AI question. The next person.
Take number 2 question right here.
The root of the problem with Israel and the government not standing up against Israel is because of AIPAC. Because Democrats and Republicans have been taking money from Israel and we've been feeding them money right back.
Like, we do not know these people. I have no idea. I've never met them in my entire life. Regardless, courage is contagious. Yeah, I think that's the point. By forcing that conversation, by forcing the urgency, we made it the topic. We made it the topic. Becca found this also. This is a TikTok by Kansas City Women's Action Collective. They were at the event, and let's hear her recounting of what happened there too.
Hey, this is Lisa with Kansas City Women's Action Collective. Just left the Beto Orourke, the town hall in downtown Kansas City. For the most part, great speech. Beto can speak, energetic. He said all the right things, but he lost me in the middle when a group of about 8 kids asked a question, is what's happening in Palestine genocide? And it took Beto at least 5 minutes to answer that question. And he ended with, yes, it's genocide. Too long. And then his staff pushed the kids out. And that's right after he was saying that we need to stand up and fight for our democracy. It's tone deaf. So I have to give Beto an F on that performance. And I hope his staff thinks about how better to respond when kids do stand up and fight for what is right.
See? This shit works. This shit works.